Awesome, awesome. Okay, we're on. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Hope you're having an awesome day so far and it has been going smoothly productive. Okay, so I am using a new software. So I just want to check that it's actually working. So I'm going to check that it's actually broadcasting in the group before I go on. Whilst I am doing this, please do just give me a thumbs up or everything as you join whilst I check that it is working. Just bear with me briefly. Let me see if it's in here. Yes, it is. Okay, it is working perfectly, swimmingly well. Awesome. Okay, I'm just looking at the picture. It is slightly darker than I actually see here, which is, but I will carry on. I will carry on. The show must go on. I am not sure why it is so much more darker on the live, but maybe next time I might try something else. So today we're going to be talking about the coronavirus job retention scheme that has been implemented by the government. So today I am just going to go into the details of this scheme, what it's about, who it is for. I am just checking my notes as well, just to make sure that I am covering every point when it comes to this. So what I'm going to be looking at is who it is for, who is eligible for it, how you can access it, what you can do with it, because again, there are certain boundaries that have been put in place by the government for those employers that are going to be taking part in this scheme. Also, what the impact on your business will be if you're on the scheme or if you're off the scheme. Also, any other questions that you may have regarding this relief package. So this is one of the first relief packages that came out, and the government is still giving more clarity because they've been bombarded with questions left, right, and center. Because when it initially came out, there was a query around, the self-employed and the smaller businesses and so forth. So they're giving more clarity to the people in general, but also to the local council and so forth, because a lot of questions will be going through them, the local council, as well as the job center. I would think we'll be getting some of these questions as well. But your best bet is, again, to go to the government website, gov.uk. Okay, that'll be your best bet to look exactly what the updates are, but I'll be sharing updates here as well. So let us start. What is this all about? So this is a package. So basically what it is for you as an employer to be able to cover the wages of your employees on temporary leave. Okay, so it's being coined furlough. So it's for you to be able to pay your employees on furlough. The government is going to pay your employees on your behalf. So who can make this claim? Well, the online service, so basically employers should be able to make this claim. So the coronavirus retention scheme is a temporary, let me just highlight this, is temporary, and it's going to cover 3 months. As I mentioned in my overview yesterday, and I'm going to keep saying it, this is 3 months. So a lot of the schemes that are in place are for 3 months, except when you're taking out loans and so forth, but I'm going to delve into those when I get to those. But usually they are for 3 months and the last 3 months. So the coronavirus job retention scheme is a temporary scheme open to all UK employers for at least 3 months, starting from the 1st of March. So basically, you can start from last month, from the 1st of March, and it's designed to support employers which operations have been severely affected by COVID-19. Okay, so a month is gone already. So if you have put your employees on furlough, you are able to backdate it until then. So employers can use a portal which is not yet live, by the way. And as soon as it gets live, I'll share it here, and probably I'll share it on my main page as well. But employers can use this portal to claim 80% of furloughed employees. Okay, so they can claim for 80% of furloughed employees. So that's employees on leave of absence. Usually, covering their monthly wages up to 2,500. So if your monthly wages is above 2,500, they'll only cover up to 2,500. Okay, so if your wages are 2,500 and below, they are going to cover those wages in full, and that is per month. Plus, obviously, the associated NI insurance and also contributions to your pension scheme. Okay, so the employer pension contributions, those are all included in that 2,500 max. All right, and that is the first thing. So it's available to all UK employers. Okay, the scheme is available for those that had created or started a PAYE payroll scheme on the 28th of February 2020. So if by the end of February you had created or have started a PAYE payroll scheme, you are eligible for this scheme. Okay, so obviously businesses can claim, charities can claim, recruitment agencies can claim, and that's agency workers paid through PAYE. Okay, not contractors, but agencies paid through PAYE, and also public authorities. Okay, these are the organizations that can claim. So employees that are part of these organizations are eligible to receive their monthly salary through this furlough scheme. If you're on furlough and you're an employee of one of these industries, so businesses, charities, recruitment agencies, public authorities, reach out to employer and see what they can put in place, because they're eligible for up to 80% of your wage. Okay, so what does this mean? You must have PAYE, so you must have a payroll scheme, and also you must have a UK bank account. Those are the things you need to be eligible for this furlough. Okay, so that is who it is for. It is businesses, charities, recruitment agencies, and public authorities. And who is eligible? Those the category I've just said, that are paying PAYE payroll scheme and also have a UK bank account. How do you access it? Well, where a company is being taken under management of an administrator, the administrator will be able to access the job retention scheme. So they have thought about everything. So if you're under administration, that will be covered as well. So what this means then is that, as I mentioned earlier, you should be able to do this online. That has not gone live yet, and they are still working on getting this site live so that you can apply. So they're pleading with you not to be sending information to local authorities or anybody else. Just wait for this to go live, and then you can apply for it. Okay, so public sector organizations. So the government expects that the scheme will not be used by many public sector organizations. Okay, so that is what they expect, but let's see exactly what happens when this goes live. As majority of public sector employees are continuing to provide essential public work. So NHS and all those guys, they're still working, so they're still paid the normal way. So they are banking on the fact that public sector will not be using a lot of this, so it will be available to the private sector and to NGOs mainly. All right, so organizations who are receiving public funds specifically to provide services necessary to respond to COVID-19 are not expected to furlough their staff. Okay, guys, so if you are providing services, okay, specifically to respond to the COVID-19 crisis, you are not expected to furlough your staff. I do know somebody in my network that has been called back into work to kind of support building, because his company built a part in the ventilators that are required now by the NHS. So they've been called back into work to support in building more ventilators as the time goes on. Okay, so the employees that can claim. So furloughed employees must have, again, a PAYE as of the 28th of February 2020, and can be any type of contract. So this is full-time employees, part-time employees, employees on agency contracts, and employees on flexible or zero-hour contracts. I am going to say this again, especially if you're an employee. But as employers, this is being covered, okay? Your full-time employees, your part-time employees, employees on agency contracts, and employees on flexible flexible or zero-hour contracts. So this is really, really good. That's why I started with this, because I realized that sometimes certain schemes that have been introduced by the government do not look widely at the spectrum of the various job situations that people are under. But this seems to be quite concise. Probably there'll still be outliers within this, but the majority have been covered, which is great. Okay, so those are the people, and those are the type of contracts that the government will basically allow furlough for. Okay, but employees hired after the 28th of February 2020 cannot be furloughed or claim in accordance to the scheme. So these are for everybody that was employed before the 28th of February of this year. Okay, employees on unpaid leave cannot be furloughed unless they were placed on unpaid leave after the 28th of February. So if you are on leave, or if any of your employees are on leave, they cannot be furloughed. Okay, unless, again, they went on unpaid leave after the 28th of February. So the 28th of February is the line in the sand when it comes to the job retention scheme. If your employee is on statutory pay or statutory sick pay, employees on sick leave or self-isolating should get statutory sick pay, but cannot be furloughed after this. Okay, they cannot be furloughed after statutory sick pay, because again, I'm going to cover this when we're covering statutory sick pay, but statutory sick pay has been expanded, and now more people can claim for statutory sick pay, especially those in the self-employed arena. So for employees that are on sick leave or self-isolation should get statutory sick pay. So you go for that instead, but cannot be furloughed after the sick leave or after the statutory sick pay. So employees who are shielding in line with the public health guidance can be placed in furlough. So hope a lot of this is making sense to you. If you have any questions, do let me know, because I know this is a lot of information. But the fantastic thing is that you know what you can do, excuse me, and what support you can offer your employees. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try and do a quick matrix for this, for the job retention scheme, and I am going to share it on my profile and on my social media handles so that you can look at, and at one glance you can see if your employees are eligible for it, and if you as an employer you are eligible for it as well. So this is absolutely great. I think it's amazing, because again, we're in it together for sure. Okay, if an employee has more than one job, so in that case, okay, they can be furloughed for each job. Okay, they can be furloughed from each job is separate, and the cap applies to each employer individually. So you as an employee, you can get furloughed from both your jobs, or 3 of your jobs, or how many jobs you've got. You can be furloughed from all of them, for each of them. Okay, now if your employee does voluntary work or training, okay, so this is a bit trickier, but a furloughed employee can take part in voluntary work or training as long as it does not provide services or generate revenue for or on behalf of the organization. Okay, so this is amazing, and this is the part I actually like about this scheme, because you can put your employees on furlough and then send them off to training. I mean, that is amazing. Or actually, they could go and do voluntary work, which is amazing. And the NHS now needs a lot of volunteers, because we all have to be all hands on deck to be able to fight this. So I think this is really, really good. But again, make most of this. I am going to share this because I don't think employers are quite aware that they can actually do this with a furlough. So a furlough can be put in place, and then the employees still go ahead and do training or do volunteer work. So make sure that you look into this. If workers are required to, for example, complete online training courses whilst they're furloughed, they must be paid at least the minimum wage or the minimum living wage for the time spent training, even if it is more than the 80% of their wage that will be subsidized. Okay? So minimum wage, at least minimum wage should be paid if they spent training. All right? Awesome. So if an employee is on maternity or paternity leave, well, they'll be eligible for the statutory maternity pay or maternity allowance. Okay? And if they qualify for that, and I don't know if you want me to go into detail in that, but again, currently the statutory pay is about 146 it's under 150 pounds per week, basically. It's under 150 pounds per week, if I recall properly. But again, I can give you an update on that. And that is where it is. Okay. So if you are claiming that, then you won't be claiming for furlough. Okay. As you can see, it's one or the other. Either is your furlough or is sick pay, or your furlough or is maternity pay. That is basically how it works. So now, how to work out what to claim for. So you as an employer need to make a claim of wage costs through the scheme. The employer needs to do this. Okay, the employees can't do this, the employer needs to do this, okay? And you as the employer will receive a grant from HMRC to cover the lower of 80% of your employee's regular wage. So they will cover up to 80%, which works up to 2,500 per month. So 80% of 2,500 per month, they're not going to go any more above that. Plus, obviously, the costs, your NI and your pension contributions. Fees, commission, and bonuses should not be included. Okay? The government will not be paying fees, the government will not be paying bonuses, and the government definitely is not paying commission in this case. So that is where it's at. Employers, employers, please make sure that you do look at this. You do see how you can support your employees. And again, the initiative must start from you. You have to claim for the wages through the scheme. The employees can't do this on your behalf. I've already explained about full-time and part-time staff, that they're eligible for it. Again, bonuses and commissions are not included. And employees whose pay varies, then there is more a calculation that needs to be done. So what happens is you have to look at the full month, 12 months prior to the claim. You can claim for the higher of either the same month's earning from the previous year or the average monthly earnings from 2019 to 2020 tax year. So you have an option of whichever is higher, whether it's the same month's pay from the previous year or an average of the tax year. Okay, and that is for employees that have variable wages. And again, it has to be from February 2020. Okay, from February 2020. That is what they're looking at. That is what they're looking at. As I've said, February is the line in the sand as for when they are looking for all of this. So that is what I'm talking about. So I've already explained to you the employers that are eligible to apply for this scheme. I've explained to you what kind of contracts are covered under this scheme. So full-time, part-time, agency, flexible, and zero-hour contracts as well. I've explained how you go about claiming. So it is the employer that should do the claim, that can claim for this scheme. And I've also explained to you how the wages are being worked out. I've explained to you how the wages are being worked out. So that is really, really good. So now I'm just looking. Okay, so who it's for, who is eligible, how you can access it. Again, the portal is going to be online very, very soon. And what can you do with it? I've already explained that. Okay, the employees, whilst on furlough, can do voluntary work and can do training as well. But they are not NOT, they are not allowed to do any work that brings the organization any profit. Okay, any profit or any value. All right, I hope that makes sense. So if they're doing anything that is to the benefit of the organization, they're not necessarily allowed to do that. So anything that generates a revenue, simple as that. Anything that generates a revenue, the employees are not allowed to do during the furlough. Okay. So how long would the scheme last? As I said, 3 months. Right now it is 3 months, but when Rishi first announced this, he said it is 3 months, but then they're looking how things are unfolding with the economy, with the world, with everybody else. Basically, they have to look and see and then play by ear. Okay, what's the impact on your business when you're on this scheme? All right, so that is what I'm going to cover next. But first, let me just make sure that I have covered all the points in regards to what you're meant to do. And again, out of the 80%, they're still going to be taking national insurance and pension contribution, guys. So do bear that in mind. Okay? All right. Just checking again and seeing if there's anything that I need to work out. Okay, so I think I've covered everything. So what you need to claim, that is what I've not covered. So what you need to claim. So employers, so you should discuss this with your staff first and make changes to the employment contract by agreement. Okay, employers may need legal advice for the process. So please do seek professional advice in regards to HR or employment law to make sure that this is all above board. Okay, if sufficient numbers of staff are involved, it might be necessary to engage a collective consultation process to procure agreements to changes to terms of employment. So again, you could see the legal ramifications here, which is one of the points I will cover with you when it comes to what is the impact on your business if you go on this. Okay, so what you need to claim is your PAYE reference number, okay, the number of employees that you're going to furlough, and also the claim period, so the start date and the end date. And I've already mentioned to you earlier that the start date can go as far as the 1st of March 2020, okay, and it's 3 months. Okay, the amount claimed per minimum of furloughing is 3 weeks. So how much are you claiming? Okay, you as a business, remember you are doing it for all your employees. Okay, your bank account and your sort code, your contact name and your phone number. So I'm going to go through that list again of what you need to be able to claim for this as an employee. Your PAYE, the number of employees you're going to furlough, the claim period, start date to end date, amount being claimed with a minimum of at least 3 weeks, your bank account number and sort code, your contact number and your phone number. Okay, you will need to calculate the amount you are claiming. HMRC will still retain the right to retrospectively audit all aspects of your claim. Okay, so just make sure, again, I know you guys are, but I'm just making sure that you guys read over it and make sure that the information is accurate, because you do not want an HMRC audit. Okay, you do not want an HMRC audit. So just make sure that the information you're inputting is accurate to the best of your knowledge. As I said, you can talk to your accountant, you can talk to your HR, depending how large or small your organization is. Speak to your HR consultants, seek legal advice, and also speak to your accountant. All right. So hopefully, I hope that has really helped in giving you an understanding of what the job retention program is all about. So what is the impact on your business? The impact on your business in this specific scenario. Okay, sorry, just checking if any messages had come through or anybody's posting any messages. So what it means to your business, as I mentioned earlier, make sure that the information is accurate, because HMRC can audit it. So that's the impact on the business if you go on furlough Also, the other one is that you are able to then put your employees can go on training, or they can do volunteering work during this time period. All right. Also, they are not allowed to do anything that will generate revenue for the organization. Okay, and I know there was one more point that I wanted to raise in regards to impact to the organization if you're going on the furlough. Let me just check my notes quickly and see if I have missed that point at all. Also, again, you're only allowed to claim for one. So either it's the furlough, or is sick pay, or is maternity pay. They cannot be combined. Okay, and you cannot do one after the other either. All right. And then last but not least, do remember as well that this is not obligatory. You just have to look and see what you can do with your staff. So you can furlough your staff, you can release your staff, so basically lay off people, or you can keep them on. And if your organization is providing services to the front line in regards to supporting what is happening with COVID and combating it, then you are not required to put your employees on furlough. But those are the three options available right now to you. You can keep on your staff, because obviously you might still be able to carry on paying them and so forth. You can furlough them and then claim for the job retention scheme, or you can lay off some of your employees. Again, there are wider ramifications to every single one of this, but again, the government is trying to keep as many people in business as possible. Okay, so that is all there is to know about the job retention scheme. That is all there is to know about the job retention scheme. So you, as a self-employed, you can actually put yourself on furlough. You can actually put yourself on furlough if you see that your business cannot be sustained for the next 3 months, because that's how long furlough is anyways. It's for the next 3 months. So if you are a limited company, you can put yourself on furlough. You can put the employee on furlough. All you have to do is make sure that you've been doing your PAYE. You've been paying your PAYE. Okay, and your payroll is intact, and you're obviously tax compliant. You're up to date with your taxes. Okay, so that is it for me today. I really, really hope that this has helped. I'm looking forward to any questions you might have. Thank you very much for everybody that has joined live, and thanks everybody that has joined on the replay as well. Thanks again. Bye-bye for now.